Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Gem Bakes. Today we're going to be featuring a classic fall flavor of apples, but putting a new spin on it. Rather than your standard caramel apple, today we're going to be making caramel apple cake pops. So without further ado, I will show you the ingredients you will need. So for the dry ingredients you'll need all-purpose flour, some cane sugar, some dark brown sugar, salt, cinnamon, baking soda, ground nutmeg, and ground cloves. The ingredients you will need for this recipe are a package of caramel apple wraps, 2 small Fuji apples, a jar of apple butter, a jar of vanilla frosting, 2 large eggs, a bag of craft sticks, and 2 sticks of unsalted butter. After you've gathered all your ingredients, go ahead and preheat your oven to 325. And after that, start by greasing a 9 by 13 inch pan, or any rectangular pan will do, with whatever your greaser of choice is. Mine is Crisco, so that is what I'll be using today. Next step is to whisk together some dry ingredients. So that will be your salt, your all-purpose flour, your baking soda, cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg into a small bowl. You will need 2 cups of flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, and lastly 1/8 teaspoon ground cloves. Just whisk it all together until it looks nicely combined. Before we get to the next step, go ahead and put your butter in the microwave and let it melt and sit in there so it has time to cool off before it's added. So while our 2 sticks of melted butter is cooling in the microwave, we're going to set aside our dry ingredient bowl and grab another bowl and start mixing our sugars together. You'll need a 1/2 cup of granulated regular sugar and 1 1/2 cups packed dark brown sugar. After you've added those 2 sugars into the bowl, go ahead and mix them until they're thoroughly incorporated. Next step is to add our eggs right here, but before we add those, we're just going to whisk them up a little bit. Now that our eggs are inside our bowl, we're going to go ahead and mix this mixture for about 2 minutes on medium speed until the mixture is thickened and pale. When you're all done mixing, it'll look a bit like this. And with that, we're gonna add that melted butter we have sitting cooling in our microwave. I'm gonna dump this whole bowl in. I know it's a lot of butter, but that just makes things taste extra good. And now we're just going to mix this all until it's thoroughly blended. Time to grab our dry mixture again and mix this into our wet mixture. We're just going to do about half of this at a time, mixing it in so it's not too much. Mixture is almost complete now. All it needs is the finishing touch of our yummy apples. So it's time to chop those up. Okay, now it is time to prepare our apples for our batter. So what you want to do is you want to peel these and then chop them up nice and small so we can get them into good cake balls and put them into cake pops. Now for this step, I'm going to get a little bit of assistance from my sous chef.
Like halfway done.
I know. I'm so slow. Apples are now chopped up small and are ready to be added into our cake batter. Don't want to break these apples up anymore, so what you want to grab is just your standard wooden spoon, mixing spoon, and then just kind of fold it into the batter gently as to not mush your apples. Smells so good so far. Our apples are thoroughly incorporated into our batter, and now it's time to spoon this yummy mixture into our cake pan. Alright, our cake is in its pan. Now it's time to bake. We're going to put this in our oven for about an hour and 10 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes. Whatever it takes for a toothpick to be inserted and come out clean, and for the cake to be pulling away on the sides. Right, and now that our cake is baking in our oven, you know what that means? It's time for an oven dance party. Our cake is officially done baking, and now it is time to let it cool off fully before we start making and rolling up our cake balls.
A few moments later.
Our cake is now fully cooled, and now it's time to, well, basically destroy it. So the first part of crumbling this cake up is we're going to cut it into 4 parts. Our cake is now cut into 4 sections, and so the first step is we're going to start with one section here, and we're going to take it, we're going to break it in half over a bowl. Now when you do crumple this cake, one of the biggest things to keep in mind is try not to get, if there's any like harder bits towards the outside, go ahead and leave those out just so we get a nice soft interior in our cake bite. This is a very sticky cake, so you might need the knife a little bit more to try to get up those extra pieces in here, stuck to the bottom. Even though you grease it, it can still happen. We have our apple cake all crumbled up as best as I could with my hands. So the next step, just to get a little bit of those big lumps down and more crumbled, just go ahead and take a standard fork and then just kind of like try to break it up a little bit. Okay, so now we are ready to start preparing our frosting mixture, which is going to be combined with these cake crumbs. For the next step, we're going to combine half this jar of frosting and then half of that amount of apple butter. This, of course, doesn't need to be exact. We just want enough frosting to mold our cake balls, but not too much to make them overly moist. But the combo of vanilla icing and apple butter can be any amount that you like, you know, just to taste. Want to make sure you get that super apple-y flavor in there to complete the apple pop recipe. What my mixture looks like before it's stirred. Just kind of eyeballed half of the frosting with my apple butter, and then just go ahead and stir that up with a spoon. Alright, so our apple butter frosting is all prepared, and it's time to dump all this yummy apple goodness into our cake. This frosting is going to take you to Flavor Town right here. It is so yummy. Kind of wish I could eat this whole bowl, but I am resisting. It must go into the cake. Now when you mix this, the best way to do it is to use the back of your spoon and just kind of smoosh it in. And slowly incorporate all of that apple together. It's good too to kind of like fold it and stir it a couple of times as well, so you get the bottom stuff. I think it's evenly coated. Alright, our mixture is complete finally, and it's time to put these into balls. First step to making your cake balls is to get a cookie sheet and then put some wax paper on it so you can have a surface for your finished balls. And then next, we're gonna make some balls. So, just grab your spoon. And now these don't have to be perfect. They're gonna be covered in a caramel sheet. So, you know, just kind of eyeball it on what you think looks best. Just kind of take a scoop and put it in your hands. Just kind of mush it together. It's like you're making a meatball, but, you know, not a meatball. Feels like a meatball, actually. Kind of make a little ball. You know, you can take some away, add some more if needed. Whatever size you like. All right, first meatball is done. Moving on to the second. After you've made a lot too, feel free to go back and add some more if you have extra dough, or you know, you can even make a sponge. You can really make them however you like. That's the beauty of cake balls. There's really no wrong way to do them, as long as they're tasty. So our meatballs, apple cake balls are all complete, and we're gonna put these in the freezer for just about like 15 minutes, firm them up a little bit, so we can cover them in some delicious caramel. It's time to cover our cake balls with some delicious caramel. Now, I did make a mistake. You will need 2 packages. I realized that a little bit too late, so I'm just gonna cover a few for you guys today. So what you'll need to do here is we're just gonna cut this into maybe like thirds so we can get a good amount on each ball. Oh, now we have our caramel cut into thirds here. So what you wanna do is you just kinda wanna take a bit and then just sort of stretch it. Don't stretch it too much, but just enough so it'll easily go over that cake ball. All right. That should be good enough there. So go ahead and pick up one of your cake balls. They should be nice and firm now. Put it inside. And then gently caramel around. So it covers the whole thing. All right, like so. A little caramel bonbon looking thing. Make sure they have an extra good seal so no cake tries to escape, because believe me, as much as you don't think it'll happen, the cake will try to escape. So our apple cake pops are caramelized, and now we just need to insert the stick. Now, the package of caramel apple wraps comes with a few of these, but you'll need some more, so I got some at Michael's. And so you just kind of take one and then weasel the stick in there. Just kind of maneuver it. And ta-da! It's gonna look like that. Okay, and here we have it, folks, some caramel apple cake pops. Now, I'm gonna try one just to make sure they're good, but they do look really good. Mmm. Mmm. Mm-hmm. That is some good stuff right there. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this video today, and goodbye for now.